I'm Myke Shrews.
And I'm Tivis.
And you're listening to
the Munster Cast,
episode 34. All right, welcome back, everybody, to the Munster Cast, the podcast where we watch and talk about the Munsters. I am Myke Shrews, and with me, as always, my co-host and friend Tivis. Tivis, how you doing today, my man?
Better than you are.
Yeah. So real quick, on the dirty work, you can find the Munster Cast on all social media platforms. Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter via the MunsterCast. Are also on YouTube if you want to see our pretty ugly faces via the MunsterCast YouTube channel. You can also email us questions, concerns, topics, life stories about the Munsters, anything you want, or if you even want to try and show up on the show and guest spot on the show, that'd be awesome. You can email us at themunstercast@outlook.com.
And if you missed last week, we got to talk to Daniel Roebuck, who is the new Munster for the new Grandpa Munster for the upcoming movie. We have it in audio as well, but I highly recommend the video version, even though something went wrong with my audio and I become unsynced throughout the video. There's a lot of stuff that Daniel shows off.
I got you synced up right at the beginning, and then as it goes through, it just unsyncs and unsyncs and unsyncs. It's annoying.
Yeah, but it's an amazing interview. We heard a lot of anecdotes, a lot of stuff about the film, a lot of his personal, emotions and investment in the characters themselves, and it's a fantastic talk. Like, honest to God, the funnest thing I've done with the show.
Yeah, it was nice. It was fun. The Fregosi Emerald was cursing the audio, though. I'll tell you that right now. That's how I looked at that one.
The next thing that we need to bring up, because we couldn't last week, is the fact that Butch Patrick has been announced for the film finally in a role that we don't know. It's specifically a character from the episode The Tin Man, which means it could be Eddie.
I know. I thought he was cast as the Tin Can Man, the robot itself.
I believe Rob Zombie's post states he's a character from that episode.
No, I swore that he's even on IMDb as Tin Can Man, dude.
I don't know. I'm looking it up right now. But yeah, so that's exciting that we finally have some Butch Patrick news.
Yeah, that's a couple weeks old now, but yeah,
as the Tin Can Man, son of a. Okay,
yeah.
All right, I read that wrong as a mystery, but okay.
The only one who hasn't been announced who they're playing yet is Pat Priest, and then of course on the cast list, anyways, from what I have seen, we don't know who is playing Zombo.
Do you want to give the listeners your theory? Maybe we could create a poll, see if they agree.
Oh, my theory on Zombo?
Yeah.
I mean, just because I was going based on like looking off of IMDb, I was like, what if Pat Priest is playing Zombo? I think it would be fun.
I don't think she is, but
I don't think she is either, honestly.
I would love to hear what the listeners think.
But yeah, I thought that would be interesting because it's literally the one character that's not cast, like put on to IMDb at the moment is Zombo, and Pat Priest is the one actor on there without a character assigned to them on IMDb. So
Zombo is Zombo. So
yeah. Oh yeah. So, anyways, I think that it would be interesting if that turned out that Pat Priest was playing Zombo. We'll find out from the trailer, as we have not watched the trailer yet. It is just dropped. We will be doing a video that will be out before this episode even shows up, so you guys can check that out. Anyways, should we move forward on to today's episode to this?
Yeah, sure. So the first episode we're going to talk about is Zombo.
Dun, 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 dun.
Season 2, episode 22. Overall, it's episode 60 of the original Munsters.
Mm-hmm.
Aired February 17th, 1966. Written by Dennis Whitcomb, which this is his first writing credit. He wrote 7 episodes of Death Valley Days and acted in 3 of those. He wrote an episode of I Dream a Genie called My Turned On Master. I don't know why I felt the need to include that one, but here we are. I am just going to verify the fact that this is his first writing credit. I feel like that's wrong, but he's got 21 credits in script and continuity department as well. So this person has been around for quite some time.
Mm-hmm.
This is his first acting credit or writing credit. I'm sorry.
Awesome.
All right. Yeah. So, of course, Norm Liebman and Ed Haas were also involved because showrunners. Ezra Stone directed it again. So the guest list, we have Zombo as Zombo, because I've learned my ways. But some person people confuse with Zombo is Louis Neal. Definitely not Zombo, but if you wanted to see more of Louis Neal, or Nye, I'm sorry, it's Nye, not Neal. They played Dr. Delbert Gray in The Ann Southern Show, which ran from 60 to 61. Harry Carp in Needles and Pins, which ran from 73 to 74. And he played Jeff Green's dad in Curb Your Enthusiasm, which is a more recent show for us, which ran from 2000 to 2002. We have Mike Barton as Frank, Jimmy Stiles as Billy, Jackie Minty as Tommy, Digby Wolf as Dave Svensson, the director, which directed the 1971 movie Sing America Beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And has 25 writing credits to his career as well. So, actor, writer, director, kind of a cool combo. I like when we see those. And then finally, we have Gary Owens, uncredited as Zombo's announcer, who previously played Dick Willett in Will Success Spoil Herman Munster?
Okay.
So I think we're ready for the synopsis now.
Real quick, was there returning kids in this episode? Did you notice that?
I did not. I went through and looked at them all.
And then when we talk about the episode. All right. Zombo, episode 22 of season 2, February 17th, 1966. Eddie, an avid fan of a ghoulish TV host, Zombo, becomes the winner of the Why I Like Zombo contest and gets to be on the Zombo show. Herman becomes jealous of Eddie's new hero and wants to appear equally outlandish. Was this the first? I'm curious, what they based Zombo off of? Like, who was the first TV host that did the scary thing like this, because we had Elvira eventually, we have Joe Briggs, is that what his name is? And a bunch of others eventually came out and started doing shows and stuff like this. But were there any that did any of this back in the 60s? I'm curious. I don't
know any off the top of my head, so I can't answer this other than Elvira.
I know there were and
the Crypt Keeper.
Hitchcock did Alfred Hitchcock stuff, and
Alfred Hitchcock Presents.
And then you had Oh, there's like all the horror directors, I guess, back in the day did a bunch of random things like this, but like I'm talking like making the actual character and doing all that stuff. So I'd like to be, I think I'll look into that. I should have looked into it before we started recording too. Anyways, let's start off this episode, my man.
All right. So we open with wait, did you do the synopsis at all?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. We open with Eddie watching Zombo on TV. And as Zombo's like walking on the set, there's a dude who is literally just hung like with a noose, not in his pants. And I'm like, how is that getting past the censors? Like even the Munster censors, like, is this before the FCC went crazy?
Maybe.
When was the FCC even like created?
The FCC, oh geez. I have no idea, man. They were like 1930s.
That's absolutely insane that that's just there on screen. Like yeah, that blew my mind that was allowed, first off. But then Herman comes in, Eddie's ignoring him. He's like, hey, I'm home.
I'm so stupid. Vampira
okay.
show. I totally forgot about that. That was from the 50s.
I'm not familiar with.
It is like Elvira takes a lot from her for sure. Her show from sure. So yeah,
that's interesting.
Yeah, there's a few of them from the 50s and 60s that were out, apparently, it looks like. But yeah, I totally forgot about Vampira. Sinister Seymour as well. I remember watching that. Okay. Yeah, I remember these things once I
see them. Yeah. Isn't memory weird?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Eddie's like ignoring him. He's like, I'm home. Could you say hi?
Yep.
Could you give me a hand or a high five or something? Could you at least look at me?
And then Herman sits down on the ground and like pouting basically next to him, and it's like, anything? Nope.
Zombo's talking about announcing the winner to his contest he's got going on. Herman, getting increasingly irritated, moves in front of the TV, and that's when Eddie finally goes, "Oh, you're home." Herman then proceeds to throw a little fit.
Yeah.
Intro.
Dun 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 dun.
Which after 60 episodes, still love this music.
Yeah.
The closer we get to Munsters today, the more I'm worried that they're going to change it, because I purposely avoided it.
I don't remember the Munsters Today theme, so I would have to wait. I'm gonna wait. I'm trying to not watch a whole lot of the other Munster stuff until we get to it, so it's fresh in my mind when we watch it.
Yeah, same.
Get a better reaction and stuff.
I did watch the trailer to the first movie though, which I found fun, which is how we found out it's in Telecolor. And it even has Herman announcing that fact. It's pretty interesting. We'll talk about that when we get to it. Yeah. So at breakfast the next day, Grandpa is showing Marilyn his Playgirl magazine like a creep.
Infamous Playgirl magazine, the same magazine. Like I think there's a photo of Dan holding one as well, Mr. Roebuck as Grandpa, just with a different cover.
Yeah,
and, like people were like going ape shit on the internet, like, oh, that's not the Munsters, and then there's like, it's literally the Munsters, dude. Like,
what gets me is the fact that he's like, hey, Marilyn, check this out. No, stop it. Why are you reading that at breakfast?
There's articles, man. You never know. Just because it says Play Ghoul doesn't necessarily mean, we know it's a play on Playboy, but like it doesn't necessarily mean it's got the same stuff that Playboy had into it. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I think we do. So Grandpa and Lily talk about how good of an influence Zombo is on Eddie. And Herman's sitting there like, why doesn't he look up to me anymore like that? And he kind of just wanders off. Okay, all dejected and sad. Which is true, because we've seen how many episodes now of Eddie like looking up to his dad and being like, you're the person I want to be when I grow up.
Mm.
So, his kid's getting older, looking onto other places. I'm sure it's got to be a little hurtful, but also Herman's a kid in his own right. So he doesn't know how to process this properly. In the living room, Eddie is watching Zombo again, showing off his new cereal where you pull out a human-shaped cracker, crush it into a bowl, and then drown them with milk. That's actually a pretty neat idea. It's sadistic, but cool.
Yeah.
Now it's time for the contest winner. Who wins?
Eddie Munster from 1313 Mockingbird Lane. And they put out his full name
and his
address on TV. I'm like, this can't be safe. This can't be safe at all. Like, okay. And the cereal was called Crumble Creature Crackers, is what what's on the box. Yeah.
Yeah, this was clearly before a time when you were worried about people sending SWAT teams to your house to harass you.
Just for fun. Video games.
Yeah, or worse things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Society has really changed in the past 60 years. So he also gets to be on the show in person. And he rushes to tell everyone the good news. And everyone is excited except Herman, who I just realized now, this isn't the scene where he leaves dejected yet. It's after this point. It's been a few days. Everyone is really excited that Eddie wins. And he's like, I can't wait. I want to be Zombo when I grow up. And Herman's like, well, you used to say that about me.
Yeah.
Because he literally has. This is one of the few times we have precedent for this.
Yeah. And like, well, I was a dumb kid then. I mean, you know what I mean, Pop.
Then someone knocks on the door and Eddie rushes away saying, hey, it's got to be my friends. Poor Herman.
So we go out to Eddie with his friends after this point, right?
Yep. And did you notice what Butch was doing?
No, I didn't notice what Butch was doing, but tell me.
He was pulling a Will Smith. You could see him visibly mouthing the lines of all of his friends to know when to talk.
Nice. So one of the kids that's Eddie's friend, I swear is the same kid who was the bully that would beat the shit out of Eddie in the one episode. It's not?
No, not unless they reuse the name, but all of these kids have never been in the Munsters before.
It looked like the same, bully.
I think it's because children all look alike,
All children look alike.
They're all just small people.
He stuck out to me. So I was just like, wait, are they friends now? Cool. It must mean that guys do really become friends after we beat each other up.
Haven't you watched a sitcom before? When the point where they're born, they just had the father's full-grown head on them, and then you can't tell them apart. God, that always creeped me out when they did that.
Yeah. So then we go back into the house, and Herman's in bed. Just laying in bed, Grandpa's checking his temperature.
He's like, before that, when Eddie's talking to his friends, you see in the background the curtain move and Herman's in the window listening to him, spying, getting more and more jealous as all the kids are talking about how much they like Zombo.
Yeah.
It was a cool scene.
But then he's upstairs getting his temperature checked by Grandpa, and he's like, you're 55 degrees. It's normal.
Yeah.
Perfectly fine. So apparently 55 degrees is normal for Herman. So
I feel like we've learned that in the past because he runs cold. I don't remember if we heard the exact amount, but we definitely knew he ran cold.
He runs cold, but yeah, he's so warm-hearted.
That's how he manages to keep moving.
Yeah, must.
Yeah, he's got this awful sick feeling in his chest. I'm like, Herman, dude, that's called being sad.
Yeah. These dogs.
Mike's dogs want to join in. So, Grandpa's like, will you stop trying to get attention? And I'm like, I don't think he's trying to get attention at this point. He's just real unhappy.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's like, you're the boy's father. That's going to mean more than just, this to him than anything. This is just a phase. And what can Zombo provide that you can't?
Yeah.
Cut to what's downstairs.
And this, I thought Grandpa was setting Herman up, honestly, because I'm so used to him just being a jerk to Herman. But I thought this was like a setup that Grandpa like knew what was downstairs.
Well, it's like we've learned throughout these episodes that Grandpa loves to razz Herman.
Yeah.
But he does care for him as his son-in-law. Mm. He does care about his well-being and stuff.
Yeah.
And he cares about Eddie as well.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, this is happening simultaneously as well, by the way. So cut to downstairs. What has arrived? I have it listed if you don't.
There's a TV. He's got a TV, a bicycle, skis.
No, it was a scuba outfit.
There's a scuba outfit, but I swore there were like skis because there's
there might have been. I only wrote down what they talked about.
Oh, okay. Scuba outfit. He had a bunch of toys and random other stuff too.
A model plane that really flies.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he got all this for free. And Lily made some food for Herman to feel better. We jump back upstairs where Grandpa convinces Herman that he's important and tells him to just stick out his jaw, puff out his chest, and something under Herman's like night gown. I don't know what that is, but
it's a nightgown.
Yeah, it expands.
Yeah,
when he puffs out his chest.
Yeah. Yeah, when he stood up in that thing, like I was like, that doesn't look like his chest piece. So, and that explained exactly why. It didn't look like it.
And it looked real funny as he's walking down the stairs too. Yeah. I don't know if they had to replace it with a different one between the scenes, but it was clearly more of a balloon in that scene than it was when they're in the bedroom.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah. Oh, go ahead.
Go on. I was gonna say he just goes down the stairs and they're talking up, Zombo again.
Yeah, Lily and Marilyn.
Yeah. And
they're talking about how handsome and cute he is with his cardboard cutout. Just weird. And Herman's chest just deflates, and Grandpa puts his arm around him and carries him back upstairs.
Yeah, this is where you actually see Grandpa actually being nice to Herman about it. Be like, oh, it's okay. I understand. Been there, done that. It was just like a couple episodes ago where Grandpa was out in the gutters because he got his heart broken. Well, not maybe not his heart, but his wallet because he didn't get the money he wanted.
Yep.
Yeah.
So now we're cutting to the lab where Grandpa is making Herman a handsome potion because Herman wants to look like Zombo now.
Yeah. I don't recall any of the ingredients in this.
I didn't even bother writing them down
because they were just random. I don't even think this time is like one time where they didn't say what exactly was in it. He was just
I don't think they did. I know that he liked the taste though.
Yeah, he liked the taste. Nothing was happening, and then we get this sweet Frankenstein smashing the lab up scene, which was awesome. Frankenstein, they're doing it up.
And Grandpa's like, after Herman has a little fit, Grandpa's like, well, all right, I'm gonna try making this again. Turns his back to him. We see Herman's hairy hands again. Very
hairy hands this time.
Yeah.
They're more hairy than normal. I think that was supposed to be part of the potion. was it the more hair. So
this was a real cool scene because he starts getting fangs. And you cut the grandpa right now, and then he's just stirring away, trying like, oh, did I do it this way?
Yeah.
He gets like a caveman unibrow.
Yeah.
He gets more and more hairy and starts grunting like a caveman or like Frankenstein, because he's not intelligent. And he like stumbles over to grandpa, and you're like, okay, what's about to happen here? I think I broke your test tube. I'm sorry. Like, oh, that's still Herman. It's okay.
And grandpa looks up and he's like, oh my gosh, Herman, you're magnificent.
Yeah.
It worked. And then grandpa like rushes over. Herman's like, wait, what? And grandpa rushes over and pulls out a mirror that he just has randomly in the lab. And pulls it over so Herman can see himself. And Herman's just like, oh, you did it. You did it. You did it.
Yeah. He's like making kiss faces at himself in the mirror.
Yeah.
And then it shatters, of course, as it always does.
Yep.
So then we get up in the living room where Eddie and his friends are checking out all of his new stuff, and the trap door opens. Up comes Herman. All the kids seem apprehensive about this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like, hey, is that your dad? Like, they all have to have seen Herman before, but not like this.
Yeah, they were just confused. Like, why is he wearing all this makeup? Like,
yeah,
what's up with the makeup? Like,
it's so funny. I love this last kid. What he has to say.
Oh, go on.
They're all like, so kids, how do I look? They're like, you look, yeah, doesn't he? And the second kid's like, yeah. And the third kid's like, or he goes, Billy, you haven't said anything. Well, my dad told me I shouldn't insult older people. And Herman's like, what the hell does that mean?
Right.
Meanwhile, yeah, you go ahead.
Good on that kid though. Like, at least.
Yeah.
And then Eddie walks over to his pop and is like, Pop, what are you doing? You're like embarrassing me in front of my friends. Like, come on. I'm sorry if I'm like not super energetic today, people. I'm like literally giving over COVID again. So, but yeah. So he's like, yeah, Pop, like, what happened? Like, why are you doing this? And he's just like, well, I thought you like Zombo so much, maybe you'd like me like this, And he's like, yeah, but Pop, there's a difference. Zombo's real. You're just wearing makeup. Like,
which he's not. It was a potion.
Yeah. But I mean, Eddie doesn't know that. He doesn't, You think Eddie would know by now. Oh, Herman came out of the lab. He probably drank something Grandpa gave him.
Yeah, so Eddie and his friends all leave. Grandpa comes up and asks how it went. And Herman rounds on Grandpa and starts slapping him with like a piece of paper or something. Yep. Like, how do you think it went?
I'll teach you.
Like, why are you blaming Grandpa? He did what you wanted.
Yeah. Yeah. Because Grandpa should have been the smart one and known that's not what the kid wants.
So at the breakfast table, Marilyn and Grandpa are talking about Herman being a giant baby, and Eddie is getting to be on TV. Herman begins banging his head on the floor as dust falls onto the table. Which I'm so glad we get to differentiate these tables after so many episodes. We know that the small one is breakfast and the other one is dinner.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, they have the two in separate rooms too.
Yeah. The breakfast is in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Which I guess also serves as an island sometimes because we've seen Lily make salad on it.
Yeah. Okay.
So Eddie and Lily arrive at the studio and are getting introduced to the producer. I'm guessing it was. Maybe it was the director guy.
I think it was the showrunner or.
Yeah,
I think it's the showrunner. that they were supposedly talking to.
Okay, so he's
Studio person number one. How about that? Just say
someone in charge, allegedly.
A really horrible person in charge too, because then they take Eddie to Zombo's dressing room to see Zombo.
He also insults them. He's like, "Oh, you didn't need to dress up in these crazy outfits." And what?
Lily just gives him the glare, and he just shuts up, and he's like, "All right, well, follow me."
Yeah. Which, I mean, to be fair, what he does with Ed, taking him to Zombo this early, if it was, a normal kid, this might be cool. But Eddie is living in a delusion right now where Zombo is a real person.
But see, there's nothing wrong with that either. Sometimes I wonder if I did my kids a disservice by teaching them about, all the inside stuff and all that crap of filmmaking, because then they could watch something, they'll still get into it. But then, if it's like, say it's something scary, they'll just remember it's like, oh yeah, this is fake. So they don't like necessarily deep dive into it a whole lot.
I don't know if that's a disservice or not, because a lot of people I know who do that, teach them about, it's a cost, it's makeup, it's an actor, they're putting on a role, telling a story for us to enjoy.
Yeah.
It's not real. A lot of those kids can get into horror a lot sooner than people like myself, who are just giant babies and now live in sitcom world.
Yeah.
So, and I think that opens up more avenues of things for them to enjoy rather than just being terrified by the imagery.
Yeah. I guess, because once they're realizing that it's not necessarily everything they're seeing is real, it's nice because then they can be like, okay, yeah, let's, now I can watch this, and this, and still enjoy it for the entertainment that it is,
Yeah.
I working in the business, I still watch stuff and get like taken in to the point where, it still draws out emotion and stuff. It's not like knowing it's not like watching something and being like, oh, this is all bullshit. Like, I know what they're doing. Yeah, of course you know what they're doing, but they're supposed to do that. Like, that's the point.
And I know I kind of interrupted you before you got to say it, but we're at the scene that Daniel was even talking about last week.
Yeah.
Why he loves this scene so much and how it got him into, making this kind of stuff, the creativeness of it. This is an interesting one. I kind of wish we had watched it before we talked to him, but
yeah,
it's also cool to have his thoughts and then seeing them in front of us as well.
Yeah, definitely. And I like the sorry, his little chat on Zombo and the fact that it's like his favorite episode and stuff. So it's really cool. Yeah. And it was really good. It was a fun episode. We'll talk about it when we're finished talking about it, of course.
Yeah. So where does the producer person take Eddie?
He takes him right into Zombo's dressing room to meet Zombo. He's like, "Here's Zombo." It's not Zombo, it's the actor outside of his makeup. It's like showing me, Daniel Roebuck and saying, "This is Grandpa Munster." No, that's Daniel Roebuck. Grandpa Munster is the one wearing the makeup, and doing the voice and all that other stuff. So I'm just like, all right, okay. And when I did this, I just like watched Butch's eyes drop almost, kind of just like he did a pretty decent job of just like being sad in this spot. Like, what the fuck? Like, this isn't Zombo. You guys are joshing me. Like, come on. Like, where's the cameras? Is this a prank show or something? Basically. And they're like, oh no, this is Zombo. This is him without his makeup on. And you're gonna get to watch his makeup get put on. Which for me, as a child and stuff, I would have loved this.
I would have thought this was cool as well.
I mean, I was that kid that sat around and I found like I got BTS of Ninja Turtles on a VHS tape that I would watch. So I was all for watching how they got the turtles to be turtles in the movies and stuff. So
yeah, it's like that episode of Power Rangers RPM where they just break the fourth wall and it's a behind the scenes video episode while still in character. It's weird.
That was a weird one. Outside that was anyways, Munsters.
Yes.
So he's basically just like, yeah, you're gonna watch me get into makeup, and the studio guy, whatever they are, stage manager, anything, I don't know what their technical thing was, but they were like, you got 30 minutes till you go on. This dude has zero makeup on. Ain't no way all that makeup's going on in 30 minutes. No way. With the shading and everything else.
Even with like black and white TV.
Yeah, because you have to do the makeup even better so that you get the perfect shading to pop the specific things. So, like, I mean, you know, Herman and Al and all them, they all still have heavy makeup on so that like the contour pops and all that stuff with the black and white. So, I mean, it's not like when they did the Munsters, you know, I mean, we've all seen set photos from the original series of the Munsters. They're actually in their colored makeup. They're just shot in black and white. So it's like you have to do a lot. They were actually done up like they would have been color. So I'm curious if Zombo was supposed to have been a different color. I've never seen a colored version of Zombo, so maybe we'll see something.
Yeah, that's true. We haven't even in the reveal for the movie. It's black and white.
Yeah, so I don't know if it's like a witchy green kind of makeup or what we have going on, or if it's just a black and white, you know, face. So.
That's what I'm imagining. But
green or black? And white?
The black and white.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so
that'll be curious to see.
The makeup job alone, I was like, ain't no 30 minutes. 30 minutes isn't gonna do it. I've done makeup before. It's just to do the base and stuff like that, right? Like you're not doing it in 30 minutes. Plus the prosthetics and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly the hands are just gloves, so that was a fast one to do.
Yeah. But while Eddie's having fun doing that, Marilyn and Grandpa are literally dragging Herman down the stairs to watch his son on TV. Like, come on, dude. As they drag him, he grabs a hold of the banister end and they yank him so hard that comes out with them. And they decide to all four now with the banister go. I called it the banister end. I think it's just the banister, the railing end. They decide to go watch TV together.
Yeah.
So the producer, Eddie, is telling him his cues about, so this is going to happen. And that's when you walk on set. And Eddie's like, where's Zombo's house?
Like you're in it.
This is the set. He's like, is anything real? And it's TV, kid. Poor Eddie.
Just fun because like you got to think of like some of the kids who may have been watching the Munsters thinking like that house and everything was legit and stuff. Like and them watching this episode and maybe connecting some dots or something like that.
I'll admit, when I was a kid, I thought the houses were like real and they just filmed inside them. It was a number of, I never thought the people were real, but I thought it was actual, like, oh, they built this house and then filmed inside it.
I mean, some places they did some like they have the backlot, like the Munsters house was on a backlot, the exterior of it. Anyways, I don't know about all the interior stuff. I feel like that was probably on a soundstage, but like there are houses built on backlots and certain backlots that are fully done. Like Tyler Perry has like, I think the most complete sized White House on his studio property that like you can legit use it for every shot and everything to get like a legit carbon copy of the White House without having to go to DC and stuff.
We keep talking about this movie, about whether, it's a prequel, sequel, whatever, to the story of the original. And
well, we'll find out when we are done recording and watch the trailer. So,
well, what I'm saying is, if we do get a shot of them moving from Transylvania to America, what if we get a little montage of them looking at houses, and one of them is the redesigned Munster house, which was last seen in Desperate Housewives? They're like, yeah, no.
too frilly.
Because I don't know. I feel like that's something that what does Daniel refer to as? Mr. Zombie?
Yeah. Mr. Zombie.
I feel like that's something Mr. Zombie would not pass up including, is the original house, even though it's different looking.
Yeah.
Have it in there in some fashion.
Maybe. Yeah. Or like that was they have a picture of what the house looked like before, and now it looks like that house.
Oh yeah, they could do that as well. Yeah.
Maybe it's like a bankrupt property or something like that.
Yeah, they're like, perfect, we'll take it.
Or foreclosure, sorry. Yeah. Anyway, so then after this all goes on, Eddie goes on live TV, man.
Yeah. While Herman and the rest of the family are sitting on the couch, and Marilyn has to stand there because the banister took her seat.
Yeah. And they start the show off, Zombo, and Eddie's like, they ask Eddie, is there anything you'd like to tell the audience about Zombo?
And Eddie's looking so miserable this entire time.
And he's like, yeah, Zombo's one big fakey faker. Like, he's the biggest fake. Pulls his wig off, tries to like pull the sideburns off and stuff. I'm just like, oh, dip. I didn't realize the show was live, honestly.
Yeah.
Which is even worse when they, put his full name and address on there at the beginning, but okay. So yeah, I was just like, man, Eddie, he's going for it. And Herman is cheering him on.
Yeah, and Grandpa's like, bite his neck.
He's like, bite his neck for Grandpa. That's awesome. And then Eddie like bolts out of there. He just starts running, and the actor who plays Zombo is chasing him around the studio. Yeah, or like some of the other studio execs there or something.
The cameraman pans and shows the edge of the set, so they break that fourth wall.
Yeah,
or that illusion, and this is just pure chaos.
Yeah. Eventually they stop Eddie, and they're like, you ruined Zombo, you ruined everything, you just and the actor's just like, thank you for doing this. I've been trying to get out of this Zombo contract for a year now.
And from Herman and the family's point of view, they get the technical difficulties image, and they're like, Zombo will not be airing tonight. And Herman's like, or ever. And then he starts beating the banister on the floor.
This is awesome though. Like I am actually curious if this is like taken from like a real life thing of like an actor who was put into a character and has been trying to get out, and they just couldn't. Yeah. Well, so I'm curious if that was any trivia or anything when we get to it. But
do you remember what he lists off of things he would rather do?
Of things he'd rather do?
Yeah, he lists off 3.
I have what he tells Eddie, but no, what did he say?
He says Macbeth. Mm-hmm. Shoot, I forget the other really big play, but the third one was My Mother the Car, which is something we have not talked about on this show, but it is infamously known as one of the worst sitcoms ever made. TV Guide listed it as the number 2 worst thing ever put on TV. Uh-huh. And for those of you who don't know, it's this guy's mom passes away and she possesses his car and talks to him through the radio. It is a weird show.
I've seen like clips of that. Yeah. It's like Knight Rider before Knight Rider.
Yeah, it's so weird. But Zombo tells Eddie, he's like, look, you don't want to be Zombo. Be someone normal like your father.
Yeah. He's like, grow up and be a nice human being, normal human being like your father. And everyone's just like, aw.
Yeah. Except the producer who's like, my cash cow. Yeah. So now we're back at home where Herman is consoling Eddie. He's like, he goes, hey, actors are meant to make people believe in something. That is their job. Don't feel bad that, you believed in him.
Right.
And Eddie's like, well, you knew he was fake the entire time, didn't you? And Herman's like, oh, yeah. Yeah, I did. It's pretty obvious. No, he didn't.
Yeah.
So Lily. Oh, go ahead.
Go.
Well, I was going to say Lily comes in and she's like, Herman, that was extremely well. Or, you handled that very well for cheering up Eddie after all this.
Mm-hmm.
And Herman's like, I wish Eddie didn't expose Zombo in front of everyone like that. You didn't believe in him too, did you? He grabs the cutout. Is like, I was jealous at first, but he's a pretty neat guy.
Yeah.
And then they just begin laughing. He kisses his wife or Lily on the cheek, and that's it.
I'm understand why Grandpa hasn't gotten his own show like Zombo's down in his lab. He could talk about all that stuff. Yeah.
Probably because everyone's too afraid to work with him.
Maybe. I do like the line. Herman does say it's great to believe what you're seeing is, is real and stuff like that. So I agree with that because, like, as I was watching it, I was like, I like that line because as I'm watching the Munsters, I truly believe that this is a real family, not just a bunch of actors in costumes pretending to be monsters that are pretending to be a family. Like, I truly feel they're a real family, just especially with the way that the dynamic goes between Herman and his father-in-law and Herman and his wife. It's back and forth. Like, they fight one episode, the next episode they're lovey-dovey. It's a perfect family combination. And the son is a jerk sometimes, and other times he's like, I love you, Pop. So
we've all been that way to our parents at one point or another.
So yeah, I like this episode. I really enjoyed Zombo. Before you get into the trivia, I just want to do this. That way we can move into the next episode.
Yeah, that's fair.
I like Zombo episode. Of course, being in the industry, everybody's always like, oh, only people that are in the industry like the shit about the industry. So that's why it's why I like La La Land won awards and stuff, because only people who actually give a crap about the industry care about that stuff. I've never actually seen La La Land, by the way. Don't have any
me either, so
reason to. But I like that aspect of it. I liked seeing Zombo as the character because it reminded me of like watching like Elvira and other characters that I'd seen growing up as a child, or even Tales from the Crypt Keeper. Come on, man, that was my Zombo actually. That I think that's the
I watched that one.
That's my feedback on this episode. I liked it.
Yeah.
So. What about you?
I really enjoyed this as well. Okay. And to your point of liking things behind the scene, we've heard a firsthand account with Daniel about Mr. Roebuck about how this kind of stuff can inspire people. And going off of your whole believing in things, like I want to believe that there are people out there who are like this family, who are as kind and forgiving and understanding. It's who I can't say I was molded by this show specifically. There was a bunch of stuff that made me who I am, but shows like these leave an impression on us. And if it left, people wanting to be better, for it, that's a really great thing for the world.
Yeah.
And also, if our friend of the show, Mosier, tries to give you crap for not watching La La Land, watch Hocus Pocus finally, you jerk. That's a very specific message for one very specific listener. Everyone else can ignore. Trivia. Oh, wait. Did I say I really love this episode? All right. If I didn't mention that. Trivia. Zombo's makeup, if you remember, was first seen on Mrs. Harkness in the Most Beautiful Girl in the World episode. Grandpa reads Playghoul in the family room, which I want to point out again, not in the family room, in the kitchen with everyone around.
Yeah.
So the exterior of the TV company was CBS KNXT, which was a real CBS affiliate since 1951. But in 1984, they changed their call letters to KCBS TV. So for anyone who's into that stuff, that's cool. One of the shows Zombo's, I already did this one, My Mother the Car. So I don't know if you noticed this, but another mistake they have is Zombo sends 2 cardboard cutouts to Eddie. And I don't know if this was a mistake or not. This might be just covering their butt by sending him these. But one of them has his name spelled right. The other one has it spelled with a Y. Just in case.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah. So into the second one?
Yep. Second episode.
Cyrano De Munster, right? How you pronounce it?
It's Cyrano, like as in serenade, Cyrano.
Season 2, episode 23. February 24th, 1966, written by Doug Tibbles with Norm Liebman and Ed Haas, again involved as showrunners, directed by Joseph Pevney. Only 3 guests this episode. We have Joan Stanley as Clara Mason, who played Roberta Love in 32 episodes of Broadside, which aired from 64 to 65. We have Chet Stratton as Clyde Thornton coming back. You may remember him previously from Herman's Peace Offering. And if you don't remember from that episode, he also played Mr. Haggerty in Herman's Rival and was uncredited as Leonard's accomplice in Lily's Star Border.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, we have Eileen O'Neill as Ann Carter, who played Sergeant Ames in 33 episodes of Burke's Law, which ran from 63 to 65.
Okay. Is that it?
Yep, just those 3.
All right. Cyrano De Munster. I looked this one up, the word, and it says it's a boy's name of Greek origin, meaning from Cyrenaic. So I thought it meant like serenading because of the episode, Anyways, Cyrano De Munster, February 24th, 1966, as Tivis previously stated. After Herman has his poetry published in the Mortician Monthly, a shy coworker named Clyde asks him to compose love letters to help him attract the attention of a young lady. Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, a shy coworker named Clyde. Last time we met him, he was an asshole.
What's that?
Clyde.
Oh, yeah. You going?
Yeah. No, I was just... There's a lot of thoughts I have on Clyde we'll get into after we're through it. But so we open with Lily painting a portrait of Grandpa.
Mm-hmm.
Grandpa is worried that they shouldn't have gone with that they should have gone with a different pose, as everyone's already seen him in this position, and the camera pans out and he's upside down above the couch. And she tells him not to talk because it ruins the green in his cheeks. Herman then makes a witty remark, and Grandpa asks him what he can do since he can't even make his bed. And Herman's like, well, I've been asked by my, the Gateman parlor. I forget the full name of it. to write poetry for a company magazine. Lily tells him to shush and get on with his silly poetry already. Herman takes this so personally. He begins going over to her painting, insulting it, calling it crummy.
Yeah.
Well, he starts mumbling under his breath, which she's like, what are you mumbling? So that's when he walks over and he starts jumping up and down, repeating crummy, causing Grandpa to fall into the couch. Grandpa begins screaming that he's in quicksand and fellers are thrown all over the room. You just see Grandpa's legs dangling out of the couch.
Yeah. That's funny intro. Then we go to the credits from there. And then we open back up into the locker room. We come back from the credits to the locker room of the parlor. Sorry, I was going to say mortuary, where they're reading the Mortician Monthly, and there's actually a website called the American Funeral Director. I looked it up because I was like, is the Mortician Monthly like a legit thing? Apparently there's multiple like websites and organizations and stuff that are like the Mortician Monthly. So interesting. Didn't think that was a big thing, but who am I? I guess there's death everywhere every day, so I guess it makes sense to have a magazine at least for that.
Yeah.
And he's reading the Mortician Monthly, is noting that his poetry got into the magazine that Mr. Gateman got into there, correct?
I believe it's just a company magazine specifically for the Gateman parlor.
Okay.
But Clyde is praising him. Like these two became fast friends after Clyde was such a a-hole to him.
The same guy who was like pranking him, correct? Well, almost trying to kill him, not prank him.
Yeah. He was gonna make him step in water and electrocute him.
Yeah. And then he's talking to him. He's like, "Oh, Herman, these are so great. These are awesome." And he's like, maybe you could write some poetry for my woman, like this girl I met on a bus. She loves poetry. She would love this. This would be my in, basically. He basically wants Herman to get him laid. Is what it comes down to. Especially as the episode progresses, and he convinces Herman to do it. Herman's like, "But I'm married and all this." And he's like, "No. You'd be writing it, and I'll be giving it to her as me doing it." So basically, turning Herman into a ghostwriter, for him for his love letters.
Yeah, and Herman he's like, we've had a lot of ghosts in the family, but no ghost writers.
Yeah, that comes later, but yeah, that's funny. And then we go away from there, and now we're back at the house, where Eddie is just hanging around.
Not yet.
No,
we're in the lab first.
I missed something.
Yeah, we go to the lab first where Herman's writing the love letters for Clyde, and Grandpa's like, it's great you're doing that and all, but why do you have to do it down here?
Yeah.
Like, well, I'm hiding from Lily because she makes fun of my writing. And Grandpa's like, okay. Why are you in my tub?
And like, well, I'm taking a bath. And he's like, why are you with your clothes on? Well, because I find you to be a little weird.
Yeah, well, it was like, it's great for the brain. And then he blows some bubbles around and has fun. He then reads his poem to Grandpa, and he tells Herman that he'll let him know how he feels after he finishes getting violently ill.
Grandpa's think about these poems too. Like, apparently he just doesn't like poetry.
No, well, he's not alone there, but Grandpa says, look, you need to stop writing these before Lily finds one and you get a beating, essentially.
Yeah.
It's just like Herman then asks him to hand the bar of soap over. He's like, why are you bathing with your clothes on anyway? Well, I think you're one of those rude people who wouldn't turn your back. All right. And then we cut to upstairs with Eddie. Lily doing house cleaning and Eddie practicing sleeping upside down like an adult.
showing more vampiric tendencies, by the way, over his werewolf tendencies. So I'm still confused as to where he's a werewolf, because we don't really ever see werewolf tendencies from him outside of that, pilot episode.
No, we see a few times.
When? Because even when he got hairy, that was just a potion.
All I know is that he's definitely a werewolf, as said by the creators.
Everyone says that. They say it, but I don't see it. So we need to see something.
Well, he's also a child, so maybe it takes him a while to grow into it. He hasn't hit puberty yet.
Is this a Twilight thing now?
No, Twilight's fucked up. Also, those weren't werewolves. They lied to everyone. If you never made it to the final book, they're just changelings. They're not werewolves.
Yeah.
Yes, I read those books. We're moving on. So he's like, well, where's your dad? And then he's like, he went to go deliver something to Clyde at work.
Yeah.
And she's like, okay, where's Grandpa? He went outside. Well, he's out of the lab. I'm going to go clean it.
Yeah.
Because there's always a mess down there. Probably because of Herman, not so much Grandpa.
Cut to
the parlor,
where Herman is giving the first poetry sample to Clyde. And this is where you get the ghostwriter joke, where he's like, this is awesome, this is great. And Herman's like, oh yeah, there's been plenty of ghosts in our family, just never a ghost writer, so I'm the first. It starts as laughing, and Clyde's just like looking at him so confused, and then like kind of frightened at the same time. And so
well, I mean, wouldn't you be after the last interaction we saw him was, I'm gonna beat the crap out of
you? Yeah. We never know how much time has gone though between these episodes, so
no, we don't. And clearly a lot of time has passed between these two, because it's later in the episode, but Clyde refers to him as his best friend. Herman refers to Clyde as his best friend.
Yeah.
But Clyde's like, your wife must be very understanding in order to help me. And Herman's like, oh, yeah, my wife knows nothing.
He doesn't say that, but we know it. And he's just like, oh, yeah, she's no problem.
No, he literally says she'll never find out.
Does he?
Yeah.
Oh, cut to her finding out.
Lily reading a rough draft to Marilyn of the letter.
Yeah.
Like, oh, isn't that sweet that he's still writing poems to you after all these years? Which I think we found out is like 100, right?
150.
I thought we just had an anniversary episode.
Yeah.
And Lily's like, how do you know it's for me?
Right.
And she's like, well, if it is for me, I guess I won't say anything. But if I don't hear anything from him, he's going to hear something from me. She's like,
You're going.
Go ahead.
Go.
Marilyn's like, it's amazing that you're remaining calm about this. Lily says, I'm going to remain very calm about this whole situation. Marilyn's like, do you mean that? Lily's like, of course not. I'll kill him.
It's so angry too.
And I love Yvonne's facial expressions in this scene.
Yeah.
This is such amazing acting on her part.
Kill him.
We've seen a mean streak in Lily.
Yeah.
She is a Dracula.
Yeah. And then we go to a scene where, is this where we get the girl finally reading the poetry, correct?
Yes. Reading the letter to her friend.
Yeah. And basically is like, oh, it's Clyde, the guy I met on the bus, blah, blah, blah. And her friend's like, wait, the freak, the weirdo that you were told me about? Like, are you sure? And she's like, well, whoever wrote this was like the kindest, perfect soul. Cut to Herman eating fish, finishing it up. And she's like, did you enjoy that? Was that fulfilling? Good.
What kind of fish was it again? I forget. Yeah.
Because they were true. I liked it because they were doing the play on words of her saying soul cut to him finishing a soul fish, having a soul.
Did with that girl, going back to that real quick, did you say, I don't care if he was a monster, anyone who could write like this must be my soulmate?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry, my wife is messaging me.
Oh, you're good.
Yeah. Soul. Oh, yeah. They have a good soul in them, and then he's eating soul fish. Yeah.
So then we get next spot, or no, wait. Then Herman leaves again. He says, "Oh, I have to go meet Clyde," and he goes off to meet Clyde late at night. I think this one was a nighttime one, right?
Yeah.
So.
And Lily's getting real suspicious at this point.
And they're cleaning up the kitchen, and Marilyn's like, "So is the disposal working, or where's the disposal at, or what?" And she's like, "Oh, disposal's outside."
Yeah, it's right out the window.
Apparently, Spot is the garbage disposal now. And this reminded me of like the Flintstones.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought the exact same thing. And I also realized it's been a while since we've seen Spot. I believe the last time we saw him was when he ran away, right? Or did he pin the robbers after that?
He pinned robbers. I'm trying to remember if we saw him. He wasn't in the Fregosi Emerald, and he wasn't in Grandpa's lost wife, and he wasn't in Zombo. So yeah.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah.
And we don't even see him, and then we just see his flame.
Yeah. Yep. Someone messed him up. So that happens. Then we cut to him saying that he's got a date now with the girl, correct? Clyde?
Yes. Yeah. He's look, Herman says, he's been with the parlor a long time before he leaves.
Mm.
And no, he hasn't. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so thrown off. I'm very distracted right now. I apologize. Herman goes to see Clyde, and Lily gets upset. Herman mentions that he's been with the parlor a long time, which is not true. He literally says he was there. He's a new hire not that long ago.
Yeah.
That is something that stuck out to me. And I'm like, no, you are a liar. But she tells Marilyn, I don't, he didn't mention that letter, did he? And then they begin spelling back and forth. Did you already do this part?
No.
They begin spelling back and forth, talking about the letter, and Lily begins spelling a word. I forget what it is, but she can't spell it. And Eddie finishes for her. He's like, look, I don't know what you're talking about, but this is the word you mean.
Yeah. And he spells it out for him.
So
I think it's philanderer is what they were trying to say. And it's like Ndererr. Philanderer. Yeah.
Her grandpa rushes off at this point, and apparently it's to call Clyde because Clyde's on the phone with him and he's a nervous wreck. He's got a date tonight and Herman's late.
Yeah.
He's like,
I don't know what to tell you. He left like 10 minutes ago, man.
Yeah, you'll just have to get by you with your personality, and hangs up on Clyde's, what does he mean by that?
Why do you have to say that?
Yeah. So he leaves a note on his front door that he's out and where Herman can find him. Yeah. Marilyn and Lily are getting rid of the leftovers. Yeah, we already did that part.
Yep.
Lily's getting extremely suspicious by this point. Mm-hmm. Herman arrives at Clyde's. He sees the note on the door. He's like, it says, if I lose this girl, well, I'll kill myself. And Herman's like, oh, I'll probably get the employee discount. So that's fine.
We'll give him the employee discount.
Yeah. And then heads off, scaring one of Clyde's neighbors as he leaves, because Clyde lives in an apartment complex. Yeah. That was probably one of the most morbid jokes I've heard from this show, quite honestly.
The suicide one?
the he'll get a discount with the funeral parlor.
Yeah.
So now we cut to the date with Clyde. He's out with the girl, and she's like, "Come on, give me some of that poetry. You're out here in this romantic area, and you're telling me you can't get inspiration?"
This chick is like demanding it and almost acting like a director. Like, the setting is this. This is what you need to do. Now deliver the line, please. Like, give it to me. Like,
Yeah.
You need to do this to get my panties off. Like, basically is what she's telling him. and it, it's weird, man. They're like these two old, like middle-aged people. Well, at least he is, up on like this like make out lane type rock or something. I don't even know. So she's like doing this, and Herman's like, psst, psst. And Clyde finally hears him. And he's like, "Oh, give me a second. I'm gonna go for a walk and get some inspiration." Because
it always helps me.
Clearly, the perfect sky and the beautiful woman in front of you isn't enough inspiration. That should be a red flag for that lady to be like, "Oh, so I'm not inspiration enough." Okay, got it.
Yeah. So he rushes over. Herman hands him the poem, and Clyde tries to memorize it as best he can.
Yeah.
And then he leaves and goes to recite it, but he has to rush back for the end because he couldn't memorize the whole thing. He goes back. He's like, "All right, now we kiss." And she's like, "No, I want another one." He's like, "Okay, hang on." He rushes back to meet Herman.
Gets another one.
Yeah, then rushes back, and he grabs the paper this time, pulls her into a hug so he wouldn't mess it up, and then reads it behind her back. And she's like, "Okay, I'm ready. Let's do this." And he's like, "Okay, hang on." Rushes back to Herman. Is like, "Job done. Leave." He goes back to her, and she's like, "Yeah, you ruined the mood. I want another one."
Yeah. A part of me is like good on him because he didn't want an audience,
Yeah.
Like he was at least a gentleman enough to be like, "Hey, buddy, I don't need you to watch what's about to happen." So that's good on him, honestly.
Here's what you do in that case. Drive back to one of your places. Just start the car and leave. Herman will get the message.
He was gone for like 2 seconds and she got out of the mood. Like,
yeah, I mean, I would be kind of irritated too.
But I mean, like, good on him though for getting out and being like, "Hey, buddy, just take off. I don't want you to see what's gonna happen. We're good now." That worked.
Yeah.
I'm I don't know. I would have been like, "Shit, get out of my car. Like, all you want from me is poetry."
Yeah.
So all he wants from her is a makeout session. So, they're both horrible people.
He does deliver a new poem, and it's awful. And she's like, "Well, what? Do you have a book of poetry out there in the bushes or something?" He's like, "No, my friend Herman Munster's writing them."
Yeah.
She's like, "Go get him for me." And I'm like, at this point, dude, you lost her.
Yeah. She keeps saying Herman Munster, like under her breath.
Yeah. And Clyde's like, "Hey, he went home." And she's like, "Okay, well, I have a headache, so we're done."
Yeah. "Can you take me home now?" And he's like, "All right, fine."
Yeah.
Cut to
her house.
No, Herman.
Yeah, her house. She's asking her friend to go with her to Herman's house.
Yeah.
And now at the Munster Manor, as I continue to call it, and I'm pretty sure it's never been referred to in the show, Lily leaves to go to Clyde's because he's going to meet Herman's mistress there. She knows it. She says she's going to take him apart so much even Frankenstein won't be able to put them back together. And then Herman asks Grandpa why Lily's gone, and Clyde's address is circled in the phone book. And he's like, "Wait a minute. Clyde met this girl in a bus. Lily takes a bus every day. Clyde's with my wife." And he rushes out the door. He's going to go he's gonna go horsewhip Clyde. And Grandpa's, like, I don't know what the hell's going on. Then the knock on the door. Grandpa goes back and opens it. Is like, I forgot my horsewhip. And Grandpa just starts laughing hysterically at this.
Yeah.
And this is all happening like real fast. Like we are cutting all over the place at this point. This episode is going. I think there's only 6 episodes left or 6 minutes left.
Yeah.
And so we go to Clyde. Lily starts pounding on his door, demanding to speak to Herman. And Clyde is like inside. He's not here. Please leave me alone. She busts that door down over his head. And Clyde's like, look, Herman was writing poetry for me so that I could, give it to a girl. And Lily's like, no. You're going to tell me where Herman is, or I'm going to give you worse than a nosebleed here. And she's like, drags him out of the apartment by his ear with the door still attached. And he's like, hey, hang on. So they take the door off of him and then they leave.
Yeah.
Clyde, somehow during this exchange, Clyde gets suspicious that his girl is on her way to meet Herman, which you should have got that yourself. Yeah. So now we cut to the girl arriving at the Munsters' house. She's like, of course a great poet would live in an eccentric house like this. And her friend's like, yeah, this looks like you're going to die. Should I wait here?
And then she's getting out and she's like, well, hey, if he's good looking, maybe he's got a good looking friend for me too.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Herman is inside digging around the closet for the horsewhip. He's like throwing all kinds of things out. And we get, for the very first time in an episode, the giant bat that Eddie has in the intro.
Yep.
Oh, that was cool. Like finally we know it exists. It's not just something
he pulls it out and he's like, this will kill him.
Yeah.
I don't want to kill him. I just want to hurt him.
No, I think he says this won't do enough. Yeah. So he's like, I can't find my whip. And there's a knock on the door.
Yep.
The girl is outside with her eyes closed, just her arms spread open. And she's like, embrace me. And Herman's like, he looks around. He's like, I don't know what's going on, but you want to hug? Sure. So he begins hugging her. At the exact moment, Lily and Clyde arrive.
Yep.
The girl finally opens her eyes, sees Herman,
and
freaks out and runs.
And Lily comes up there and slams the door in his face. He's like, never, you're never coming in here. Like, leave. Slams the door in his face.
They have like an argument, and this is where Herman's like, what are you doing with my best friend? Yeah. She's like, I can't believe you. And then Clyde, like, what are you doing with my girl? And tries to punch Herman in the face and breaks his wrist. But
you think Clyde would have learned from before?
Yeah. Poor Clyde.
He'll never learn.
He's so stupid, huh? So now we cut to the living room where everything is being explained to Lily. And Lily's like, I'm so sorry, I overreacted. And both Marilyn and Grandpa agree. Lily went so far that she has the rest of the family going like, yeah, you really freaked out this time.
Yeah.
Grandpa then insults Herman's poems again, and Herman begins reciting some. I can't remember the last bit. And that's when Lily rushes to help him finish it. And he's like, you remembered it. I never thought they were bad. They hug and it's a sweet moment and credits.
Boom. The end. Yeah. So final thoughts on the episode before trivia.
This one was a weird one. Like, it was all over the place. I didn't dislike it, but I wouldn't say it's like one of the top tier for me. It was all right.
Yeah. It was fun. It was it's interesting to see Herman's connectivity to these people that we've seen him, have issues with in the past. that they're growing out from it, but it's kind of cool to see him connecting with the bully again. And yeah, I like to see Herman expand in his art, of course, as his poetry and stuff like that. So we at least think he can do something good.
Yeah, even if he reads real slow, he can do poetry.
Yeah. Yep.
As well as all the sports he can do.
Which he reads really slow, but he was writing those poems pretty fast for Clyde.
Yeah, he was. So the only bit of trivia I have for this one is the title is based on Hector Savinian de Cyrano de Bergerac. I am never going to get that correct, so I'm not even going to try again. He was a French dramatist and a duelist who is best known for his incredibly large nose, which was depicted pretty accurately in Rostad's 1987 play based on Hector's life.
Okay. Is that it?
Yeah, that's all I got.
That's it for this week's episode, guys. Well, we're gonna get out of here and go and watch a trailer, which will be out by the time you guys hear this episode. So awesome. Any last words for today's this week's episode, Tivis?
Yeah. If you enjoy hearing my voice, and if you're a fan of our other show, Operation Babel, I've been asked to be on an episode of Across the Bifrost to talk about the new Thor. I don't know when it's coming out, but when this episode drops, it will be recorded. So just keep an eye out for that if that's something that interests you. And if not, we'll see you next week for another Munsters. We will be talking about the musician and prehistoric Munster.
Dun, 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 dun. Awesome, man. Sweet. And again, we also like to send out another great thank you to Daniel Roebuck, who joined us last week. It's a pleasure speaking with him. And I hope everybody enjoyed it, regardless of all the audio technicalities issues that we had.
And go check out the video. And we will have our trailer reacts out sometime soon. Before this is up.
Yep. So
we haven't made it yet, but it'll be up.
So thank you very much, guys. Again, you can email us at TheMunsterCast@outlook.com for anything Munsters related or to be a cast or anything like that. And with that said, we will catch you next time as we take another stroll down 1313 Mockingbird Lane.
The lesson I want you to learn is it doesn't matter what you look like. You can be tall or short, or fat or thin, or ugly, or handsome, like your father. Or you can be black or yellow or white. It doesn't matter. What does matter is the size of your heart and the strength of your character.